So, when it came to finally writing this speech, Wikipedia left me on my own, and I got to thinking about how best to approach it. There's a technique I use whenever I'm met by any of life's big challenges, where I step back and ask myself a very important question. This question is, what would Ollie do? Now, before anyone starts taking notes or anything, I'm going to say it's not a technique I'd recommend. It's rarely, in fact, never helped me out in any way, shape or form. And in this case, it was no different. See, I liken the process of writing a speech to that of writing an important piece of a university coursework or a dissertation. And I quickly realised if I had approached this in the same manner Ollie had approached his dissertation, well, he would have started it last night, and then at 8 o'clock this morning, woken myself and Adam up and asked us how we finish it. There would have been absolutely no such thing as proofreading, and the opening paragraph would have been peppered with typos and duplicated words. So I got to thinking about how I first met Ollie. And this was a week into school term, just after I moved schools in year 9. I met him at break time. It's fair to say we got on quite well, so naturally conversation carried on into geography class. But being the new kid, I was not looking to get in any sort of trouble. So it's highly embarrassing when Miss Nicholas asked me to stand up and leave the room, because that's not how we work in this school. I quickly glanced at my new companion, which only confirmed I'm definitely on my own on this one. Ollie had suddenly seen the importance in the work we've been asked to do. So we got away with it in that instance, but Ollie has not always been so lucky at staying out of trouble. There was an evening, several years ago now, when Ollie had been out in Wantage for a few drinks, and he was stumbling back to Grove at the end of the night with Rob and Bill. It seems they'd had a few too many breezes, they're struggling to walk, but the police drove past and took an interest. Not just because they'd had one too many, but because under their arms were a number of roadwork signs. I guess it's one of those things, some people at the end of the night have a kebab, some just want to set up a late night diversion. Having been caught red-handed, there was no hiding the fact they're breaking the law. But whilst Ollie was being read his rights by the police, that in a moment I can only describe as sheer desperation, he decided to play his "my mum's a magistrate" card. He repeated this point to exhaustion, before finally conceding and duly accepting his £80 fine. So knowing there are a fair few people here today that have had the pleasure of working with Ollie, I thought it wouldn't be right to deliver this speech without touching on Ollie in a professional capacity. I have to use this term professional quite loosely, because I think many of you might agree there is very little professional about Ollie in the workplace. For example, when Ollie went about applying for his first full-time jobs post-university, he went around handing out CVs and completing job applications with his contact email addresses bigfatblueowl@hotmail.com. Yeah, still got it. Before he followed his true dream of selling antivirus software, he tried out a few other professions. His first experience of work came in year 10, when every student has to undertake 2 weeks work experience to gain an understanding of the challenges of the real world and to start to think about an appropriate path to follow. I'm not 100% convinced that he used this opportunity to his maximum potential, and that he decided a suitable placement would be Wantage Library. Not due to his love of literature, but because the hours were 10 till 4 with a 2-hour lunch break. My personal experience of working with Ollie came when we were living in Sydney and we both got jobs working for ING. It's the only time I've known of somebody having to move desks to sit next to their manager because they talk too much. So, it feels right that I'm able to stand here today and say a few words about Ollie and Andrea, having been there at the start of their relationship. So I feel like I've really been involved from the outset. I don't just feel this because I spent the first 3 weeks of their blossoming relationship sleeping in the same 10-bed dorm. But it was obvious from the moment they met each other that Ollie had found someone pretty special. I remember the day we first met Andrea. I was with both Ollie and Lee, about to travel through New Zealand. In doing so, we decided the Kiwi experience would best suit our needs. For anyone that's unaware of the Kiwi experience, it's a popular way for young, often single people to travel around. It was known by many as the big green truck. So, in anticipation of meeting a bus full of lovely single girls, we donned our very best short and t-shirt combo with our favourite caps on, slightly tilted to the right after the fashion in 2007. We walked onto the bus and immediately spotted these two lovely looking girls. We weren't to know until many months later that as we strutted up the bus, subtly eyeing them up, that their first impression of us three was a bunch of Essex chavs. Having said that, it did not stop Andrea reciprocating the interest in Ollie. And luckily for Ollie, myself and Lee decided to step aside and let him get the girl for a change. It seems that Andrea was dragging her heels a little bit though, because it took a threat from Jenny that if Andrea didn't go there, she would. To keep her into action. Whilst this has no doubt been wonders for Ollie's ego, I'm slightly perplexed as to the fuss surrounding Ollie, when clearly myself and Lee were also both single. I must say it was pretty lucky that Andrea and Jenny were on our bus in the first place though, having been booked to travel the previous day. But however, a heavy night out on the booze meant that they overslept and ended up on our bus the next day. So some might call that fate. Others might say it's a slight drinking problem. Anyway, it certainly had a positive outcome. So, as we can see, there is a screen up there.